Bounty hunter, open up. Open up, open the door. Open the door, we won't have to kick it down. Tank, pull a kick, though.
What's going on? About to do another Q&A. We're actually on the hunt, so I figured what better time to do a bounty hunt Q&A. Got my brother from another mother, Tony over here, Tony Sylvester. And he's been in the game much longer than I am, so I figured it'd be a good way for you guys to get some insight on, somebody has actually more experience than I do. So we'll go back and forth on some of the questions you guys ask. Hopefully you ask some good questions. I'm gonna go with Facebook first because I've always been doing Instagram, so I'm gonna go off the ones off Facebook first. This is from Abby Martin. How does one become a bounty hunter? And is there certain states that are better to work in than others? I'm gonna let Tony go ahead and get the first one, and I'll go ahead and rotate. Get the question.
Yeah, it's completely dependent state by state. In the state of Ohio, for example, where we're located, there are no bounty hunters. The term is actually illegal. It's a misdemeanor to identify yourself as such. That is really just a preference that Ohio has. Only licensed surety bail agents, private investigators can hunt a fugitive in the state of Ohio, and off-duty peace officers, but I think that goes without saying. So basically Ohio has made it so everyone must obtain a professional license before they can engage in anything of the hunting of bail jumpers or whatever, A lot of states are still unregulated. Other states have some level of regulation, and there's a handful of states where the practice of commercial bail is completely outlawed. So those would be the states you would not want to work in because you would not be able to. Some states are definitely better than others for geographic reasons and the fact that they just favor the profession more. California, Nevada, Texas, Virginia all seem to be very heavily invested in the surety bail system. Ohio, hit and miss. Some places seem to go buy into it, other places not so much. Up until about a year ago, the courts tentatively had the option to refuse surety altogether. However, someone sued the state of Ohio and won, and as a result, now surety is universally accepted in the state of Ohio. So we've made our home here. Doesn't seem to be a bad place to work. I'm sure there's better and I'm sure there's worse, but most states require some kind, even if you're going to call yourself a bounty hunter, they require some kind of at least registration, if not licensing, if that answers your question. But it varies greatly state by state because individual states have the power to enact laws governing the practice of bonding.
That probably answered 90% of you guys' questions, is because a lot of you asked how do you get into it, so hopefully that answered your question for the majority of you. Let's see, we got Wolf_Haley83. How do you feel when you kick a door down for the first time? You remember that scene off King Kong when he was beating his chest on top of the Empire Building? That's kind of how I felt. Also, there's a scene from Training Day when Denzel walks into the hood and he just kind of runs the shit. That's kind of how I felt when I kicked my first door down. It was an adrenaline rush. I was shaking. My blood was pumping. My stomach was just turning. But I felt like King Kong. To be honest with you, how did you feel when you kicked your first door in?
Think about that. It's been so long. I was nervous. I mean, fear is a helpful instinct. It'll keep you alive. But I wasn't scared of what was behind the door, honestly. More scared I was going to screw it up. Because I was with some experienced people, but it was a rush. I mean, I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, it's an adrenaline rush. And you kind of fiend for a little bit. I mean, you yearn for a little bit. It's adrenaline. And yeah, I was nervous too, but I was so much like, oh, I just did it. It just happened so fast. I can't even really explain it. You'll just have to experience it. We go to another question. I said bounty hunting, guys. You asked me about abs. I don't have abs. Let's see.
You want them, stop eating.
This is from JB_Army1 Get Your Gun. That is an interesting name you got there, guy. Have you ever had a weapon pulled on you? I've had a weapon put on me twice. One, I shared the story when I was in Detroit. When I was down there bounty hunting, I got shot at. It was another time. I think I was in Atlanta, and the individual put a weapon on me. But the police were right around the corner, and he backed down and took off running. So it's been twice I've had a weapon put on me that I know of. You ever had a weapon drawn on you before?
I've had a gun drawn on me twice, but ironically, neither of them were in the course of this job. As far as a weapon, yes, I've been stabbed, beat. Never a pistol. I've never had anybody draw down on me in this job, but I've been beat with shovels, flashlights. A chick stabbed me, broke my face over my head. So yeah, I've had a lot of weapons drawn on me. Just thankfully, none of them were a firearm.
This job can get dangerous. That's why I tell you guys, if you want to get into this business, don't look at it as what you see on TV, because a lot of that stuff's not real. You need to shadow somebody who's really in the business, is actually doing this stuff for real, and see if it's something you really want to do, because it's not what you see on TV. You can get killed or hurt. So
if you don't know what you're doing, you are more likely to get shot by friendly fire. I take that back. I have had a gun drawn on me before. It was by a police officer. So if you go rolling up and not taking the proper precautions, and you just roll into Joe Blow's house, and the neighbor calls because he thinks you're burgling it, and you ain't smart enough to come correct, you could get shot by the police. There's probably a greater likelihood of that happening than getting shot in the line of the job by someone on the street, because if you don't let the police know you're there, they don't know who you are. You're just another dude rolling out of a house, armed, I might add.
Yeah, so you gotta be careful. Make sure you know what you're doing. Don't just go out there doing what you see on TV. You get yourself hurt, somebody else hurt, your partner hurt. So be mindful of what you're doing out there. It's not what you see on TV. This is from Moses Lopez. I am a bail agent from North Carolina. Do you offer recovery work on fugitives in your state if we ever pinpoint any over there? Of course. If you get a bail jumper and they're out in Ohio, give us a ring. We're more than willing to help you. So yeah, you can find us on the internet number. You know how to reach me. Instagram, Facebook, just like you just did. But yeah, if you got any bail skippers out in Ohio, give us a ring. We'll be more than willing to help you. Mr. Lopez. Alright, I'll get a couple more. Let me go to Instagram now. Let's see. How did you get into the career? I'm gonna let Tony answer this just because it might be redundant if I keep answering, because you guys have heard it from me so many times. So I'm gonna let him tell you how he got in the game.
Many moons ago, I had briefly been employed by the state of Ohio in a law enforcement related capacity, and that did not work out well for me, nor did it last very long. And this was around the time when this was around the time of 9/11, and they were restructuring a lot of governmental offices at a federal and state level. So there were not a lot of careers in law enforcement available. Plus, my other brief employment had ended on a sour note, so I did not feel confident reapplying. So actually, by chance, the guy I knew who was an attorney had actually closed an office building with an airport for a bail bondsman in Northeast Ohio, and he needed help. Now, this is so far back you used to be able to hunt without a license this far back. So I started helping him hunt fugitives down. The law changed not long after that required you to become licensed to do business in the state of Ohio. So I got the license. And I thought this is a temporary stop between law enforcement gigs. Well, here we are.
Pretty simple. I'm gonna go back to Facebook. Let's see. This is from Josh Thompson. What's up, Josh? Josh said, what is the funniest thing you found someone doing when you were hunting them? Me personally, the first time I caught somebody, it was in a hotel in Virginia. And when I walked into the room, it was fucking weird. He had a computer set up, it was porn on there. He had a bottle of vodka, a Snickers bar, and there was a grapefruit on the fucking bed. I mean, I don't know what the combination was going on, what he was doing, but these were all the elements that were sitting on the bed, and he was ass naked. So, I mean, you kind of put together in your head maybe what was going on. I don't know. Still to this day, I don't know. It was the first time I made an arrest, and the guy was in the hotel room. And this is what he had: Snickers bar, a vodka bottle, not the good vodka. He had that gas station vodka. It's like what 15% alcohol, and a grapefruit. And he had some porn on his laptop playing. And that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Maybe not seen, but just the elements that was sitting there. I was confused, and I was a little bit nervous of what the hell was going on in there. So that's probably the funniest thing I've seen. I don't know. Tony might have something crazy.
I've arrested a lot of people, but the one that sticks out in my mind is very recent is me and Tank went over to get this guy who was bound to a wheelchair. And we went up in his house. He didn't want to go. So he put the brake on his wheelchair. And I said, look, this is not a negotiation. I said, we're going to treat you with respect, but one way or another, you're going. And he looked us dead in the eye and goes, look here, if you think I'm going, you're going to have to fuck me up. So we walked behind him and let the brake up on his wheelchair and rolled him out into the car. He said, you all gonna do me like that? Well, there wasn't no other way to do it. I got a good chuckle out of that. And then he peed on us.
Well, you ought to see, we didn't get that one on film.
That would have been a good one.
That would have been a good one.
He got the last laugh. He peed on us for 2 hours at the courthouse and everywhere else.
Yeah, so we got peed on. So understand when you get in this game, there's a chance you might get urinated on.
They didn't give me that in the brochure.
You didn't sign up for that one. All right, I'll get one more. I don't want to make it too long. I'll skip back to Instagram. Let's see what we got here. Workout question. Let's see. Says, what is this dude's name? Aki Kent. Can you use a gun during your duty? You damn right we can use a gun during our duty. To answer that question, yes. I'll get another one. That was a black and white answer. Let's see. Alright, let me answer that. What is the, this is from overdount _. What is the longest hunt you've ever been on? Man, it's been so many. I don't know the longest. I'm gonna say the longest. I was actually in Toledo. I'm gonna say this is the longest just because I was out of town, and it was 72 hours of just non-stop hunting. So I'm gonna say that's the longest. But I've looked for people longer than 72 hours, but it was in the comfort of my own, city. But I was in Toledo hunting a guy, and it was for 3 days straight. I didn't shower. I ate McDonald's, stayed in the car, slept in the car, for 3 days straight, and finally we caught the guy. So that was probably the longest situation I had where I just slept in the car. I was determined to catch this dude. I wasn't going home until we found him. Hopefully that's not the situation here. Hopefully we catch this chick within 24 hours and we out of here. I don't know, what's the longest you've been on?
When I had to go out to LA, we were out there for a minute. I mean, that, and then I went down to Georgia once and had to stay there, and then Detroit. I mean, but it was the same situation. It was, look, we're not coming back until we got them. So, but even then, it wasn't more than 4 or 5 days. I mean, I think we was in LA the week of Christmas, 2005, I think, 2006. We spent 5-6 days there, but to be honest, half of that was arranging transport back. We caught the guy fairly quickly, but when you're riding on a plane with a felon, and there's, you know, the procedure for storing firearms and stuff, that was not that long. I mean, it was after the 9/11 era. It was like 2005 maybe. So there was procedure in place, but it was still relatively new. That was after the TSA formed, and Homeland Security was a relatively new thing. That was a little bit arduous, but I have probably the longest, and part of that was logistics, getting home. But 3-4 days on the hunt, just nonstop, is probably as long as I've ever been.
A lot of the times when you're hunting, when you don't have a home field advantage and you got to go out of town, those will be your longest hunts, because typically you're not going home till you catch them. So if you got to go out of town, you're not leaving until you come back with them. So those are typically the longest hunts that you're gonna get, because it's non-stop. You're not sleeping really. You're there for a purpose, and you're not leaving till you catch them. So you see, it's kind of about the same, 3 or 4 days. Anything after that, you might go crazy. But hope you guys, I hope I got all your questions. If not, I'll do another one maybe on the way back. Keep shooting at your questions. Hopefully we have some action for you. I'll catch y'all later.
Time to pull a kick though. Roll around gladiator, trans and some aviators, looking for a perpetrator, staked out, but we ain't playing me.